Going live. We're live. Whoa, this is so cool. Wow. All right, anyway. What's up, everyone? So I'm here with David.
Yo.
First live stream. I was actually thinking about posting a video. Where's the camera? Right there. Yeah, so I was actually thinking about posting a video announcing that we're going to do a live stream. Well, I was going to do a live stream on like a certain date or something like that. But today we just finished watching Hamilton.
Musical. We had the breakfast meeting.
Yes. Oh yeah, we did have that. We did have that. That was pretty dope. And then so we just been chilling. We just finished watching Hamilton. The musical was dope. Then we started talking about some stuff, updating life coaching, and everything. And now I just had the random spontaneous, because you guys, I'm really spontaneous now. I keep on trying, man. It just doesn't work. I mean, but I'm close enough. I'm more spontaneous than you are. David wanted to think a whole. He was like, I don't want to get on there and be boring. I'm like,
I don't.
Yeah, but I don't
get on here and like not be like, because I mean, I don't want it to be forced where like we have like those YouTubers. You be like, hi guys.
Yeah, we don't.
Come on, son. Sometimes you're just not in the mood for that. But then you also want like people that are just like, so we're back again. You know what I'm saying? So I just didn't want to like.
No,
I don't know.
Yeah, if you were somebody else, probably, but I don't think so. But yeah, so we're here, first live stream, and what we're going to talk about today is, what are we going to talk about today, David?
I don't know this, though. That's what I tried to ask you before.
No, I was pretty much, okay, so like I said, we were just talking about my life coaching package. We're not going to tell you the details of it yet, about like how that's going to be, but it's going to become a package, and I think that you guys would really like it. I'm in New York City.
Yeah.
And I'm going to be in New York City all of this upcoming week. So I'm going to be with your boy, David. And we're planning, once again, to do a live stream. So this is like preview, see how this stuff goes, like spontaneous live stream, so that we can have like the structured one, I guess. And you guys should comment whether you're watching live or whether you're watching like post live stream to let us know like, yo, we're trying to hear you guys discuss this, or we're trying to, hear you guys discuss that. What day is good for you, actually?
I will have to get back to you on that.
All right. We will get back to you on that.
Thursday might be a good day because I know you're meeting with other people maybe Monday, Wednesday. Tuesday's not good for me, but Thursday might work.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Thursday might work. What time?
Would have to be after 5.
Might work. Who it is on? Oh yeah.
We'll figure it out.
We'll let you guys know.
Yeah.
But yeah, in the meantime, I think what we should discuss, since we're already here, we just talked about the whole revival thing with church and youth and all of that. And
yo, hold on. Because our pastor is an ENT, undoubtedly so.
Yes.
He went. He was going on a long rant.
Yeah.
Completely different tangent for whatever he was talking about. It was like basically a recycled sermon. It wasn't a bad sermon. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Right. He did have some gems in there.
Powerful. Very inspirational.
But he said
motivational.
I don't know. I wouldn't say it's necessarily TE all across the board. But to me, it sounded when he said
TE Dom.
Yes, sorry, TE Dom.
Yeah, it's definitely TE Dom.
He said, "Don't let somebody remote control your emotions." I don't know what that he was talking about. Oh my God, that's going in the books.
Yeah,
along with demonologically. I think we have to explain that one. So, in like African churches and stuff, demons are in everything. Yes. You always have to be praying against the devil because the devil is behind everything.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's not actually you who's, causing your life to fail. No, it's just the devil. You can blame everything on him. In which case, there was once a pastor who came to our church who was speaking vehemently against the devil.
Mm.
And he was talking about how the devil can take over or control your life, and how sometimes we're led by him and we don't understand that it's him behind the scenes. So I think he was saying sometimes people will allow the devil to jump demonologically.
Sometimes people will allow the devil to demonologically or growing. Yeah, but Africans are definitely something. See, and this is the thing. I'm going to warn you right now. David and I are going to be spiraling throughout topics because that's pretty much how we are. You guys are pretty much just going to sit in on conversations that we have. Now, you know, might censor them a little bit more, you know, depends on, you know, what it is. You know what I'm saying? But
can't be telling people that. So what you really talking about behind the scenes? Like, ain't nothing.
Ain't nothing. Remember you came to visit me
in Ohio?
Yeah. Yeah, of course. I hope that you're doing well. Is everything good over there?
I mean, it probably is if he's just chilling here with us. So.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, but then again, yeah, that's good. That's good, Jared. That's good to hear, man.
Cool.
Thanks for tuning in, man. Do you have a question? Do you want to throw us a topic? Literally, all it takes is one, and then we're gone.
Facts.
All it takes is one, and then we're gone.
But yeah, the breakfast meeting felt like felt like a lie because they told us it was just supposed to be breakfast, and it ended up being like a whole, I don't know, luncheon, like meeting. I don't know.
Yeah,
I didn't think anybody was prepared for that except for the people who were preparing it. But
yeah, I ended up speaking, and that was
he
fun.
threw mad shade everywhere because I mean it was necessary in terms of like actually being impactful in people's lives, and it wasn't going on there. And I feel like the work that could have been done was just being put into. The problem with the church right now, and
we can start there.
Would be that
with ours
the
and
elders
then in general.
The elders just didn't want to necessarily invest in the youth simply because it was just like these are just kids. But now that it's ironic, now that they see like, you know, things are
people flourishing.
Yeah. Or like they see that the youth is growing and they see that the vigor that they once had is fading. They're realizing it's faded already. So now they're like, oh wait, remember all those youth that we had? Let's go bring them back. Like they're all gone. They're probably never coming back. But I mean, you can try.
So what would you say? Because I've been posting a whole bunch of videos which you've seen about collectively what's wrong
with the church.
Church, Christian culture, all of that. So let's spiral off of that. Y'all have all heard me talk a lot. David's here for once. What do you have? Like, what thoughts do you have on that?
Well, you just give me a very broad topic.
It's a big tree.
Are you asking me?
Go
what's
ahead
wrong
and
with
grab
the church?
whichever fruit that you want to take.
I'm gonna get zesty. Don't do this.
Go ahead and get zesty, man.
I think one of the biggest issues the church has is condemning the LGBTQ community.
Wow, that is zesty.
I'm doing that.
Yeah, let's go.
I think. Well, I went to SUNY Fredonia, and that at school is a very small school, but it's like very progressive. It's not necessarily conservative. So I had the opportunity to encounter a lot of different personalities, and amongst many of them, I found a lot of. Somebody's at the door.
Well,
that sounds weird.
Please wait. Pause. You just. Yeah, it's the one.
I just noticed that we've neglected being able to communicate with different people who don't think like Christians, I guess.
Yeah.
Especially people who, the thing about this community is that they actually want God, and they feel like they can't access Him because of whatever they feel they understand to be love, right? And obviously, we know what the Bible says about like same-sex relations and stuff like that. So I don't think we should abandon that. But at the same time, I feel like we should be trying even more to reach them and show them that God isn't what they've seen from the Christian community or Christianity in general. Simply because it's just like all they've seen is hate, and when all you see is hate, you're gonna move away from that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You're gonna do exactly what you don't want. You're gonna allow people to also condemn you.
So then, what would you say is the correct view of God that they should be saying?
I don't want to give people platitudes with the usual, "Oh, God loves you." Obviously, that's true.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Obviously, God does love them despite whatever sin, like is said in the Bible or whatever. And we can talk again about what the Bible considers to be sin, because again, people don't agree on that, and that's fine.
Yeah.
Right? We can have a discussion about that.
Yeah.
But it's just about like, they're going to change anything about. Can you re-ask the question?
Pretty much. So you said that you feel like the people in that community are not really what should be the proper relationship between traditional art, which has its roots in paganism, and Christian art. So what kind of art can't be adopted by Christians?
It's a very good question.
Oh, that's my dude Nolan. Yeah.
Okay.
He be commenting on what's up, Nolan. I like his comments.
Okay. He said, "What should be the proper relationship between traditional art,
right,
and
which has its roots in paganism
and Christian art?
What kind of art can't be adopted by Christians?"
Okay.
Okay.
Let me go first, or should I?
Okay. All right. I'll start this off. The church forgets that all sin is equal. We totally just derailed.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So
all right, all right.
We're gonna come back to
yeah, we're gonna pin that. Coming back. All right, you can finish there.
Yes, that Jenny is completely correct.
Right.
All sin is equal, and I think it's become more of like a ranking system in which.
Oh, you killed somebody, you definitely going to hell.
Right.
You
and
had
then
sex
rape
with
comes
somebody.
after that,
Oh,
and
yeah.
then I don't know, something like kidnapping. I don't know.
Yeah.
Different things we rank them.
And then
to
you
God,
put,
it's like all the same. It's just like you lie to somebody that has just as much impact as you killing somebody. And to us, that seems drastic, but to God, it's just like doesn't matter. You harm somebody in some type of way.
It's pretty much the fact that in James 2:10 it says that sin can be like righteousness can be like a necklace of beads. So if you have like a necklace, or even if you have this, if I break off one of these, then the whole thing just falls apart. Pretty much it's saying like no matter like how big or small each one could be, it still breaks that relationship with God. However, the whole point Christianity in of itself is like, not necessarily that you're never going to sin again, but that as you have now come to love God, as you have now come to know Jesus Christ, then you are becoming more whole. And it's kind of like if you're hanging out more and more with a certain friend, then you guys start to like become more like that person. And so even though you've gained a respect for that friend. So like me and David, best friends. If David told me, I don't really like when you say this word around me, or I don't really like when you do this action, I don't really like when you do that. Now me this, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, sure, because David's my friend, I value that relationship. So even if it's a habit of mine, I'll actually actively work and try to adapt better to accommodate for him. But respect for that person. Yeah. So literally like everything really just comes down to that, like, having that relationship with Jesus, and then you all of a sudden start to like grow more in your as you grow more in your relationship with Jesus, then you are also bettering. You're drawing away from sin, because the closer you draw to God, and the further you're drawing away from sin. Now, you're not going to be perfect, but you're going to be actively pursuing. Exactly. Exactly. So to address Nolan's question, though, I think that's a really good question.
Ooh.
I think that when it comes to traditional art, by having like its roots in paganism and everything, I feel like it doesn't really matter. This is probably controversial, but I should warn. But I feel like it doesn't really matter a lot of times what things may be rooted in, because it's kind of like it's like however you decide to use the tool is how it's going to be used. So you can use a hammer to either bash it against people's heads, kill them, whatever, very graphic, or you can use it to build stuff, homeless shelters, I don't know, things along those lines. So it's all about the person's intention. So maybe the first person who created the hammer was intentionally using it, like created the hammer to like kill people. But then it's like, oh, we found another use for this, In the same sense, even if something may have roots in an area that's seemingly paganistic or, like things along those lines, if you're truly like, like walking with God and everything, then Bible says like out of the abundance of your heart, the mouth flows. So if your heart is like filled with God's word and like, spirit and everything, then as you continue to absorb all of, God's word and everything, then you will automatically start to produce art that will be inspirational, regardless of if you're saying Jesus 30 times in a song, or even if it seemingly had like pagan roots. Like I remember that I used to be like very against Halloween, because Halloween, first of all, I'm African. Africans don't play with Halloween. But another thing is, I always saw it as like, oh, that's like the devil's day, and it's really this, it's really that, stuff like that. Like you can't, like that's something that's just off limits. And then I learned to see the benefits from it. As in like, I've seen Christians, how they use it, like at Liberty, they'll have like haunted houses and stuff like that. And they'll like have the haunted house, you'll get the scare from the haunted house and everything. But then afterwards, like at the end of the haunted house, they'll have all of these tents and rooms where people like, when they're leaving, like, oh, wow, that's fun. Then you like before you leave the building, then you get a 5-minute spiel pretty much on like, like what the gospel is, so stuff like, like a lot of you guys got scared today, blah, blah, blah. Well, this might be a scary thought, but where do you think that you would go if you died today? And, like that would be like a conversation starter, and they pretty much used the aspect of Halloween that's supposed to be the devil's day and all of that to like now like several hundreds of people get saved every Halloween, like every Halloween season. So if the thing is being used and it's actually being redemptive, then I don't think that it should really be like knocked, if that makes sense. So like when it comes to art, then despite whatever like pagan roots that it may have, I'd say to like ignore the roots, which is funny because like from an MBTI standpoint, me as an ENFJ is like, I don't value SI like more than anything else. So it's like, yeah, ignore the roots and just, like progress forward with it. Focus on the message, the way that you're going to actually use that art. Yeah. So
I
go
would
ahead.
probably say the interesting thing about this is that the church has always had a thing about like separating itself from more secular things. I think you've touched on this before.
Yeah, that's annoying.
Where it seems like, for example, like this is not a knock, because there are always certain people who just honestly cannot take anything other than like gospel music.
Yeah.
Right. And that's fine if that's their own personal thing. But I've noticed that they always try, those people, they always, but they often try to inflict their convictions upon others,
Mm-hmm.
in which they want other people to follow their ideals.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah.
Right. In the sense that where they feel a certain way about like music and stuff like that. Now everybody has to feel a certain way about music, and they use scripture to back it up. And like, okay, fine, I understand you feel that way and stuff like that. But not everybody's built the same way.
Yeah.
But I also notice like it usually starts with like just saying music, and then it ends up being like the way you dress, and then the way like what you watch and stuff like that. Like obviously these things have an influence upon our daily thought process, and thoughts turned into actions. I have no problem with warning people, be careful of what you ingest mentally and emotionally, blah blah blah. Like music can affect your mood. Absolutely true.
Yeah.
The way you dress does say something about you, whether you like it or not. Fine, okay, I get it. But to then, I don't know, dictate what somebody else does with their life, that's a whole different situation. So as it pertains to art, my first inclination is to go to visual art, but then it also applies to different art as well. Like music.
Movies could even
Movies is a huge thing, because then it's just like, okay, now you're telling people what movies they can or cannot watch. Are you also going to tell people what food they can and cannot eat? Are you also going to tell people what where they can go and where they cannot go? You know what I'm saying? Because now the logic, you have to follow it all across the board, and now you're controlling someone else's life depending on your convictions.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So then now it becomes a form of cherry picking, where you say, okay, no, this is okay because of this, and that is okay because of that. And I think this is what God told me I can do, so I don't think you should do that either.
Yeah. For me, like, I don't know how many of you guys have seen the God's Curfew video, by the way. Shout out to Naisha. Sorry. It was very, very spontaneous. But the God's Curfew video that I used, or that I said, I pretty much did the same thing, where it's like, I used an analogy where if God set a curfew for 12 a.m. sharp, like everybody needs to be in the house by 12 a.m. All right, cool. Everybody can be in the house by 12 a.m. But then you'll always have like those people who are like, shoot, 12 a.m. All right, you know what? I'm gonna make sure to be home by like 10:30. Then you'll have other people like, 10:30 is pushing it. I'm gonna be home by 8. And you'll have other people who's like, yo, I'm not even gonna go out. Like I'm gonna try and like stay in the house like the whole time. But then you're also gonna have people, it's kind of like me, where they're gonna be coming home at 11:50, 11:54, 11:58, 12 on the dot, stuff like that. And the thing is, it shouldn't really matter what time the person, as long as the person is coming home before 12 a.m., because that was the time, that was the curfew that was set. As long as the person is coming home before the curfew, then that's all that matters. That person should not be judged. You're no better because you stayed home. You're no better because you came home like around like 9. You're no better because you came home around like 10:30. You're no better even if you came home like later. As long as you are home before 12, then all is well. Yeah. So yeah, like I guess like just going off of like what you said in that sense, that's how I see it.
Yeah.
At least.
I feel like the relationship between Christians and more secular things should be, obviously use discernment, but don't try and force other people to do something based on your personal conviction. That doesn't mean you shouldn't probably advise people on what you think they should do. Obviously, go ahead. If you're cool enough with the person to say, okay, I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
Yeah.
By all means, tell that person, like, I don't know why you think that's a good idea to do.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, it's just like, who are you to decide everything that is holy and that is not?
Yeah. And that's it. I mean, seriously, if we're still going with that analogy, then yeah, that's pretty much what I'm saying. Like, if the curfew is 12 and the curfew is 12, just like, but the thing that we've kind of gotten into is that people now make the curfew to be like 11, 9, 10. And then if you come in after those times, not 12, but if you come in like after 10 or 11 or whatever, then they make you out to seem like you're some type of like satanic, like just bad child. And it's like, no, you set this rule out there. That's not really like, set before God. If you feel guilty for coming home past 9 or whatever, that's on you. I'm not going to knock you. That's cool. But don't coerce your beliefs or that personal conviction onto another person. If another person feels comfortable coming home late, a few minutes before curfew or whatever, on curfew on the dot, then go ahead and do that. And then just like I said in the video as well, if somebody's coming home, this is big. If somebody's coming home like 12:15, 12:45, 2 a.m., don't be like, yo, this cat's always coming home late, man. No, listen, all of that. Don't be like that. Probably try and go talk to the person. Yo, I noticed that you be coming home like 12:15, like 2 a.m. Like, yo,
translate that part for them.
Oh,
give them a realistic version of
yeah. I've noticed that you've been doing this thing. Like, okay, what example? Drinking.
Or something.
Yeah. I've noticed that you've been drinking and everything. I'm not trying to like knock you or whatever, but it's like you've been getting drunk a lot. Like, do you need like maybe like some help with that, or something, like pretty much try and figure out why this person is coming. I had to finish the analogy before I could bring it down. Mm-hmm. So try and figure out why this person is coming in late. Try and figure out because you never know. Maybe they got lost. Maybe it's like, yo, I always get lost at this turn. GPS isn't working, whatever. You pretty much, if we bring that to realistic terms, you never know what's actually going on in somebody's life. If you look at the people like in the hood, then a lot of them, they don't just wake up one day like, yo, I want to just sell dope. I just want to do this. I just want to do cool. That. Yeah, it looks cool. I want to be cool. A lot of times when you talk to these people, it's like, yo, honestly, there was nothing else that I could have done. I had a family that I had to feed, and I couldn't go out and get a job because I got all these tats, or I have a criminal record, blah, blah, blah. How else am I supposed to make money? How else am I supposed to feed my family? And it's like, dang, does that make what they're doing right? No, but because you now have an understanding, it's like, you know what? Now that I understand why you're always coming home after curfew, maybe I can help you get home a little bit earlier. Now that I know what it is, because instead of judging you, you were able to tell me why you come home this late. So now it's like, okay, well, maybe I can meet you like halfway. Maybe I can start giving you a reminder call. Maybe I can set some stuff up. So I don't know what just happened.
I don't know what happened either.
Yeah,
but I did see Tanisha. That Tanisha that sent the 45% chance.
Yeah,
I think she's referencing the 49% chance thing I did.
Yeah, that's why I laughed when she first put it.
I'm
that's
not sure
funny.
if we can talk about that. Maybe next time we'll talk about that. But that
maybe
later.
Being legalistic and judging is not mean for the church. So much to the fact people hold on. So much to the fact people feel unworthy to go. Who is qualified to praise God? Pastor, great quote. So yeah, exactly. Because a lot of people, and I feel like this is now an overused quote, but at the same time, it's necessary to state. So people will be like, oh, only God can judge me, all of that. Oh, first of all, in the Bible, it literally says that we can help. It's not necessarily. You have to define what judge is. Mm-hmm. That's what it is. So you have to define what judge mean.
I swallow.
Only God can judge you, as in only God can be like, yo, you're going to hell.
Right.
Nobody can do that.
Actions.
Yeah. You can use it if we're going through I did not know. But, I just got that. That's funny.
First, we have to determine what a judgment is. Because I feel like a judgment is to come to a specific conclusion.
Yeah, I was getting there, but no, you should. Okay. No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Well, I think what happens is people jump to conclusions too quickly.
Yes.
And that's when we get snap judgments.
Mhm.
And that's what the church is often guilty of.
Yeah.
When they see somebody, they make a snap judgment, and just all of a sudden, it's like they want to separate themselves from something that is disgusting.
Yeah.
When in fact, that person is probably who you should probably be reaching if you feel so strongly about that, about what they're doing. And I feel like people automatically feel uncomfortable because obviously nobody wants to be judged prematurely, especially not for the way they look or the things that they do, especially when you don't have the full context.
Yeah,
I think
exactly. That's
context
the thing.
Is everything.
That's the thing. So the reason why I even make long videos on my channel, and I was just talking to David about this the other day, I feel like we lived so much in a world now where it's like people like to take sound bites, you know? They like to just, oh, I just got the gist of what you're saying. I'm not really like a gist type of person. I want you to get, I think that when Nolan just said earlier, like, thanks for like answering that thoroughly. You know, I like to be thorough with the answers that I give because then first of all, it leaves little room for misinterpretation, but then also it allows people to get like a really deep rooted grasp of what, you know, I'm trying to say, you know, like what the concept may be. And I feel like a lot of times we get the gist of things too often, then we translate that to like how we judge people.
Right.
So, oh, I see this cat over there doing whatever. And then next thing you know, it's like you throw a judgment onto whatever he's doing and you don't even know the story behind it. You don't know why this person's doing whatever that person's doing. And I think that's such a huge problem. Like my whole thing is I've been watching recently, if you go through like my liked and favorited videos and stuff, I'm watching a lot of documentaries on serial killers and cannibals and, you know, stuff like that. Yeah.
Homie, what you be doing?
I just told you. And I watched like hours of that stuff, and I'm just really trying to like understand like how did they get to where they are.
There's a show like
and
it's called Hannibal.
Yeah, I watched that. You know, he's in the ENFJ.
Really?
Funny, yeah.
I thought it was
Hannibal.
Like we'll talk about that later. We can talk about it now if you want to.
We could get to that for sure. I watched. Yeah, we'll get there.
Yeah,
I'm gonna pin that.
Right.
So yeah, I've been watching a whole bunch. He said, "Man, I thought I was dark." Is he being racist? No, I'm just kidding. I get it.
Please
it's a joke. Okay. So, what was I even saying?
You're talking about trying to get into other people's minds, specifically killers.
So I watch, and I've been watching Hitler too. So
what's wrong with you?
I want to understand their stories. I want to understand how people got to where they are. So I'll watch certain stories like Ted Bundy, and I watched like literally from him growing up. I watched several documentaries on him and his childhood and everything, like how he was neglected oftentimes, and you know, like how he got like really into like porn, and then like not even like it got to a point where like regular porn did not really like, you know, get him, so then he had to like keep on pushing it further and further, and then finally he was like, man, it got so seeped into his mind that he's like, I have to act this stuff out. And so then, like, you know, it's kind of like I talked to a friend who used to play Grand Theft Auto a lot, Kobe, and he said like, yo, when I used to play it all the time, then, you know, it was fun and everything, but then eventually I would see a police car, and I kid you not, I would have to stop myself from actually trying to steal the police car and run. And it's like, whoa, like that sounds crazy. But if you do something like that, like long enough, you know, there it is. So all of these thoughts, it's literally an eye. Like all of these thoughts lead up to like the finished product. And if you're able to understand like where, I guess I am into, the secrets of events. Because earlier I was talking about like rejecting the roots, but this is my way of like getting into the roots. Yeah, when you see that Jim Jones, he was literally it's interesting when you see his life when he was younger and everything, and how hard he had to work, and you know, like how his family treated him when he was young and everything.
True.
It doesn't necessarily excuse what they've done, but it allows you to better understand it, because then when you can find out what the root is, you can get to the root and pull that weed out. But if you just keep on cutting it at the stem, or if you judge it really quickly and you just cut it at the tip, you're not going to really be able to get to the root. So it's just going to keep on growing back. You're not really killing it. So what I'm saying, like my whole point is, it's so important to understand the context. It's so important to be able to see what's rooted in that person's like behavior. Not just like jump to conclusions and be like, oh, this person's bad. This person's just off to hell, you know, stuff along those lines.
In fact, you can probably help them even more.
Yeah.
Once you understand the root.
It's not even probably, most likely you'll be able to. Yeah. Because then if you find out, like a lot of these serial killers, I feel like at least like two of them
intercepted at some point, of course.
Like, yo, why do you do this stuff? You know, like not like attacking them or anything, but like getting really into their heads and everything. Because like some of them felt bad. I forgot one of their guys' names, but he legit. It was a friend.
It was a friend. Was it Massey?
Oh no, I mean one of the serial killers.
Oh
yeah, but one of the guys' names, I can't remember his name at the moment. But he legit felt so bad after killing the people and everything. And like he was being interviewed. They interviewed him and his dad. And because his dad was not in his life, you know, pretty like his dad kept on like, oh, that's nice, son. That's nice, son, and everything. And he started getting into porn. And then, you know, like he just a whole bunch of like crazy stuff to like fill that void. And I feel like if somebody was able to intercept and like talk to him, like, yo, why are you like this, or you know, whatever, and really understand where he was coming from, then all of a sudden, like, you could have probably even introduced Jesus to him. You could have been like, you know what, it's sad that your father doesn't really love you, but cliche, but Jesus does, you know. And you start introducing like maybe like why, like even characters in the Bible who probably went through the same thing, and helping them like get a better understanding, putting them in a community of people who really love them and all of that. And then that gives them a motivation to kind of steer away from the paths that they were already on.
Here's the issue with that. That's much easier said than done. Number one, a lot of people don't care. Number two, even if they did care, they wouldn't understand how to approach the situation. You have somebody who's mentally unstable. Mm-hmm. Number one, the first thing people are going to want to do is self-preservation. They're going to want to get away from that person because they don't want anything to do with that person. Number two, even if they did want anything to do with that person, they're not going to know how to go about the situation because they don't have experience in how to deal with people who have very difficult pasts. Yeah. Right? So then not everybody's going to be like you and say, hi, how you doing? Not everybody talks to strangers and stuff. You know what I'm saying?
Clearly watches documentaries on serial killers.
Precisely. Now, of course, we can talk about like what people should do, but then how do people even go about those situations once they get into those? Like, you can't partake. You can't just pick people out of the blue and say, oh, this person is definitely going to kill somebody. Unless they're like clearly mentally unstable, in which most cases people would move away. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like, number one, how do people even approach those types of situations or like identify those situations in which they're like, okay, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I think that my point.
Because we see that all the time in New York City, for example, on the subway. Prime example. You have somebody on the subway, like in a train car, who's like either suicidal or they're just like looking very suspicious. The very first thing that people do is move away from that person or get them out of the train car altogether because they gotta go to work. Yeah. Like I literally saw a video the other day where there was somebody chilling in front of the train tracks, keeping the train from going, and there's people ready to fight him.
I saw that video.
On my way to work one day, everybody was in the train, and they told everybody to get off the train and get away from this one person who said he was just ready to die. Oh, yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, people don't know how to address these situations, especially when it comes to mentally unstable people.
Yeah, I think I was using that analogy, not necessarily to say, like, this is what we should do. What's up, Sean? But more of, I believe that my whole point was literally to try and understand, if you try and understand the person's story, then it was pretty much going back to your point, how now that you know where the root is, it can better help you get to that root. So then comes your hurdle where it's like, okay, now that I know what the root is, or well, not even, how do people even, okay, yeah. So you brought up two things. Now that I know what the root is, how do I actually get to that root?
Exactly. How do I implement?
Yeah. And then number two, people are not, you said like people aren't even interested in being able to get to the root.
Yeah, well,
I think that's like the whole thing that we're trying to say. Like that's the whole message that we're trying to say right now.
People care.
No, well, I don't think I'm really making people care.
I'm not saying that's what you're saying. I'm just saying in general, like even if we are talking about this and we are trying to push it to the forefront of people's minds, who's to say that they'll still care?
I know. I think okay. So I guess the way that I think about it, I know that there's going to be people watching who see this and may not even see it, who will just like, no, I'm still going to put my own narratives on people and judge them.
Okay. That's
understandable. But I also know that there's going to be people who will watch this, but even if it's like 10 years from now and be like, oh, wow, that's a really good point. And next time before I judge the person, I'm going to remember what Denzel and David said. And I'm actually going to try and understand this person's narrative. And it's like, wow, that actually helped. So it's not necessarily that I'm thinking about trying to catch all of the fish in one net, because I know that some of the fish are going to jump out. Mm-hmm. I know that some of the fish are going to do the just keep swimming thing, and they're just not going to, stick in the net. But I'm still going to get some fish. And so you can't really like force people, of course, with to be nicer, to care. That's mm-hmm. right. But you can encourage them. You can bring it to, by bringing it to the forefront of their mind. There's some people who probably literally, it's so natural for people like me and you, but for some people it's like, oh, I didn't think about that. And I see that all the time. And it's like, half of you wants to go, oh, duh. But then the other half of you is like, well, no, because like, especially people, we know like some people are not wired to like think like that. Mm-hmm. So I think, yeah, like that's my whole goal right there. Like I'm trying to help encourage people to understand where other people are coming from. I'm going to catch up on these. Yeah, go ahead.
The part that you sort of...
This one of Jane can't help trying to get into people's minds, understanding what drives people to act the way they do, possibly the TI principles. Yeah, same here, to know what's next and how to... Yes, yeah, they need Christ. Yeah, that's true. Their lives would become a beautiful testimony for his... Yeah. It's up to the people closest to them. They're the ones who watch the behavior slowly deteriorate.
Today, you're smart. I was just about to say something about that.
Yeah, by the time these people are ready to explode, it's in the public eye, and they can only be detained or isolated, or so it seems. Yeah,
sphere of influence. I was just about to say that when it comes to situations and how people can deal with that, again, it starts with people that are closest to them, mm-hmm. and it starts with. I was gonna say like. Give me a second. I was loading. I was just gonna say. I was gonna say that we should probably set more reminders for other people and ourselves to kind of just hit those people up that we know are like struggling with something, or we know that like it could be something like either depression or self-confidence issues, or some people have. I just learned about dysmorphia the other day. Which is
I've heard that word before. Yeah, I didn't look into it though.
It has to do with, I'm not well versed in it myself, but it has to do with like the warped perception of oneself.
Oh, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I didn't even know that was a thing.
Yeah.
So it's stuff like that people are struggling with that you have to kind of just like, don't be like, oh, hey, what's up? What's going on in your mind? I mean, because that's what I do, but people, they're used to me doing that stuff already.
David is very... interesting.
I've been called a therapist.
Oh,
which is new.
That's not new, David.
No, I mean, well, psychologists or those types of things. I'm like, where are you guys getting this stuff? People keep telling me that I should go back to school for psychology. I'm like, you're bugging.
People always think that I majored in psychology.
No, which would make sense.
Yeah, but yeah, no, I do get what you're saying.
And yeah, so we just have to. Sorry.
No, go ahead.
We just have to check up and check in with people that we know, like, or even people that you don't know.
That's what I was about to say.
You never know who it is, and these things always come as a surprise to everyone surrounding the situation. But everyone has an idea, like something may be up, but
yeah, that's what I was about to say. Like I know, like you said, like not everybody goes to talk to strangers or whatever. Get that. But yesterday, I was on
talking to a stranger.
I was talking to a stranger on the Greyhound. It was a funny story. Like literally, when I was coming, then all right, I'm gonna try and like truncate it real quick. There was, I'm not even gonna say that.
You got on the bus to come here.
Yeah, I got on the bus to come here. There was a very, very, very quiet girl that we ended up sitting next to each other, and then finally, like we stopped to get food. I ended up getting a fork for my food or whatever, and I kid you not, she's probably recalling something. I don't think I hug strangers. Physical touch is actually third on my thing, so that's surprising. But I pretty much ended up